At ridiculously low prices. Well, that's because those designer bags, clothing, and jewelry may have actually been fake.
Well, nearly 5 years ago, federal agents swept the Tanque Verde swap meet in Tucson and seized nearly $800,000 worth of knockoff merchandise. The News 4 Tucson investigators wanted to see if things have changed at the swap meet since that time. What we found? Bogus items being bought and sold right under law enforcement's nose. Here's Tom McNamara with a look.
The News 4 Tucson investigators sent an investigative producer to buy items with the Michael Kors and Coach names. We wanted to see if the items are legit in light of that huge ICE raid in 2009. Companies including Coach have policies against confirming whether items are real or fake, and that's to prevent counterfeiters from coming up with even more real-looking knockoffs. So the News 4 Tucson investigators took some of our items to the expert buyers at Tucson-based Buffalo Exchange. And while not saying the items are counterfeit, they tell us there were a number of red flags about the item's authenticity.
Usually this brand is known for utilizing genuine leather with most of their products, and this one is polyurethane, so it's definitely a vinyl, which is not consistent with the brand.
We also brought in a pair of sunglasses we purchased at the swap meet. We wanted to see if they were actually Oakley's, and not surprisingly, our expert says they're most likely a knockoff.
The first giveaway is going to be the construction and how the item is made. You can also feel the weight too of this is pretty light, and that's not consistent with the quality or even the metals or the materials that these Oakleys would be made with.
As far as this t-shirt goes, a Michael Kors representative told the News 4 Tucson investigators via email that the shirt is in fact a knockoff. Armed with that information, the News 4 Tucson investigators confronted vendors selling the fake stuff at the swap meet. Is any of the stuff real? Any of the designer stuff real?
I don't know. I just got that from the storage.
This woman, who calls herself Maria, says she bought the items sight unseen from a storage auction. Do people buy a lot of this stuff?
Sometimes. But this one, I bought it about a month ago, and I can finish selling those. So, not too much.
The Tanque Verde swap meet has a written policy against vendors selling counterfeit items. But the News 4 Tucson investigators wanted to know, does the swap meet actually enforce that policy?
We do the best that we possibly can. A lot of stuff comes in. As soon as we're made aware of a problem, we take care of it. It's just, we try and self-police.
General Manager Ray Stone tells the News 4 Tucson investigators companies like Coach work with private investigators to try to crack down on counterfeiters. But there's only so much that can be done to stem the tide of knockoffs that usually come from overseas by way of Southern California's ports. Is there anybody out tonight even looking around? Because, again, we saw a lot of stuff that's highly questionable at best.
Well, again, it may be questionable. I have my personnel, at least 5 to 7 personnel that are patrolling, just making sure that the grounds are maintained and everything's done reasonably. As best we can, we inspect vendors' goods and look at what they have. But unfortunately, we just can't be everywhere and inspect every item.
During the News 4 Tucson investigators' visit to the swap meet, we also spotted a number of Pima County Sheriff's deputies patrolling in a golf cart and at the snack bar. All the while, the bogus bargains were being bought and sold. A Sheriff's Department captain tells the News 4 Tucson investigators those deputies are not there to crack down on counterfeiters, but for different duties.
Deputies' primary responsibility out there is to keep the peace and preserve the peace, responding to things such as disputes with vendors. We do have assaults. Alcohol is consumed out there. We're dealing with people, possibly car crashes in the parking lot.
Meanwhile, swap meet shoppers tell the News 4 Tucson investigators they realize that items for sale aren't always the real deal, especially when it comes to things with Michael Kors, Coach, or other luxury labels.
Out here, no, I don't think so.
I'd rather have a knockoff if it gets stolen. Then you don't have to worry so much, because I would rather have my knockoff Coach purse get stolen than my real Coach purse, for sure.
It's funny because everyone thinks they're getting name brand and it's not.
Even Stone admits, in the end, a lot of it comes down to buyer beware.
If a deal just seems too good to be true, it probably is.